Già più, si sente già secondo.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We are going to start in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2023 Alumni Reunion. It is great to see all of you joining us here in presence in our mystical Ferdinandeo Palace, as well as those who are following us online. Personally, it is great for me to be back here in person after having to sit on the bench last year due to personal reasons. And well, particularly this marks the end of a 3-year period, a wonderful period, I shall say, for us as a board of directors of our association. I am here with many of my colleagues of the board, my friends, I shall say. And well, we will later make a balance of these 3 years in office during our annual assembly. But first, let us focus on this year's main topic, artificial intelligence, a new era. I want to particularly thank these 3 distinguished keynote speakers that are joining us today and who will share their views on the subject and the different implicances on several businesses. Analyzing artificial intelligence, early origins in the stars and the future, its impact on healthcare, and the role of communication. All of this showing how the road from science to concrete business artificial intelligence applications can be done. Thank you, Roberto, Andrea, and Dorina. From the board, we have decided to choose this topic since we consider it is already having a sizable impact on our everyday lives and business activities, and it is already shaping the future, the present and future of this. Also, as we did last year for the first time, we will have the business corner, where 4 of our alumni have decided to participate. And well, we think that this initiative allows our colleagues and alumni to share their projects, their entrepreneurial spirit, and increase their brand's awareness. And at the same time, it allows to all of us to broaden our networks. I want to thank Valeria, Daniele, Pablo, and Patrizio for joining us. Right after that, Giovanna Vaira, a current EMBA candidate, will briefly introduce the Young Manager Award presented by Federmanager Italia. Up next, we will host our annual assembly, in which we will share, as I said before, a brief summary of these 3 years' activities, and let you share your feedback with us. And most importantly, I shall say, we will also announce the results of the elections and know who will be part of the following board of directors. As many of you also know, later tonight we will have the chance to raise our glasses and share some, let's say, some good times, creating new memories in our social dinner. On Sunday we had already, let's say, in program some activities, golf tournament and tennis tournament, which unfortunately due to the, let's say, the current forecast, we need to call off. We will reschedule these activities as soon as possible. And we also have in program the visit to the Revoltella Museum for the Homage to Miro exhibition. Many of us, I guess, will be attending there to then share some lunch, most probably downtown. Prior to leaving the floor to Teodora for our first speaker introduction, let me give the word to our Dean, Professor Andrea Traconia, who will provide us with a welcome speech on behalf of the school. Thank you all, and let us all enjoy our 2023 annual reunion. Thanks.
Thank you, Gonzalo. I'm here to bring the warmest welcome on behalf of the school to this reunion. It's always a great, I would say, an invaluable opportunity for us, the faculty members, the staff, to host you in this beautiful salone and try and catch up after a few years. For some of you, just a few from graduation, but I see many people that probably I met more than a decade ago, so it would be just great to exchange some news, information on what has gone on during the recent years. But again, some of you represent the very first program of the school we established in 1990, the MBA. Some others, probably most, you are from the other programs of the school. You graduated in the MIRM, you graduated in the MIF, you graduated in Origini or in the executive MBAs. And so we have quite many programs, and all of them, they are now well established and with very high standing, reputation, and they hold important international accreditations. They are different in content, but we hope that they all share the same soul and spirit that you are taking here today as being part of the Alumni Association and the community of our alumni and former students. A community that is encompassing many decades and extending over many, many continents. And I think it's very, very touching for us. It's a sort of, it's like, do you remember, probably you don't know, not all of you, you know, but we started in 1991 to pass the baton through the different editions of the MBA. And this is sort of, I mean, this community that is cross-generational is a sort of passing of the baton among you. Okay, back to today's event. I wanted to take this chance also to tell you something about, again, just 1 minute, about the school and how the school is very much involved in further increasing, if possible, its standing within the community of international business schools, and in trying to strengthen even further the brand name and also the value of your masters and your programs. We have an ever, I would say, very great and important governance of the school, which is representing both the academic and the business world, with which we have established new cooperation agreements. And we are, taking also some new directions in the contents we cover, not only management, but also, as today is reflected in the title of the session, AI, machine learning, and everything that is related to the new data-driven management. And that's the reason why we were delighted to also indicate to the Alumni Association as a keynote speaker, a very high-standing member of our faculty, Professor Roberto Trotta, that is a professor of astrophysics at the SISA, which is an academic institution here in Trieste. Of course, for us, it would be just wonderful also to listen from Dorina, that has been for several times the president of the association, and from Andrea, that is currently attending the executive MBA, but he is also a high-tech entrepreneur, a very successful high-tech entrepreneur. So I'm soon or now taking my seat in the audience, and I let Gonzalo to introduce the speakers, but I want to wish you all a very fruitful stay here in Ferdinandeo in Trieste, and taking the best possible advantages and fruits from this reunion. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to open the Reunion Talks 2023 by introducing our guest speakers, along with our storytelling from science to business AI application. Our first speaker is a professor of theoretical physics at the International School for Advanced Studies in Trieste, where he also leads the data science department. He is a visiting professor at Imperial College in London, where he previously held a professorship in astrostatistics. His research primarily focuses on cosmology and machine learning. Beyond his academic pursuits, he is a co-founder of Data Fusion Consultants Limited, and he served as a non-executive director of Imperial Consultant Ltd. He is also an award-winning author and a recognized science communicator. He received the Annie Maunder Medal in 2020 from the Royal Astronomical Society for his outstanding contribution to public engagement in science. His new book, Starborn: How the Stars Made Us and Who We Would Be Without Them, will be released in November, with a presentation titled From Babbage to Musk, Promethean Vision of AA. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to host here today Professor Roberto Trotta.
Thank you very much for the kind words of introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a real delight to be here with you today. Thank you to Professor Traconia for the introduction, to Gonzalo, and then Gonzalo and the Alumni Association for inviting me here to spend some minutes with you talking about AI, its origin in the stars, and what it might mean for the future of business. On Saturday, March the 4th, 1837, a young naturalist, recently returned from a voyage of exploration around the world, attended his first party at a glamorous and intellectually stimulating venue, the best such venue in Victorian London. Babbage's parties are the best in the way of literary people in London, and there is a good mixture of pretty women, the young naturalist enthused to a friend in a letter around that time. His name was Charles Darwin. In the elegant mansion of 1 Dorset Street in the heart of Marylebone, these gatherings brought together not just literary people, but also the best of Victorian society of the time. Aristocratic ladies, bishops, authors, celebrities, bankers, politicians, industrialists, and statesmen, as well as the best of scientific people, as they were then called, of the times, which included the astronomer John Herschel, Ada Lovelace, the daughter of Lord Byron, and who would then go down in history as the first programmer in history. The self-taught mathematician Mary Somerville, who translated the work of Laplace in English, and William Whewell, who had come up with the very word scientists just a few years prior. Everybody at those parties was treated to the finest salmon, oysters, and fowl by their host, Charles Babbage. Babbage was the scion of a wealthy banker. He was educated in Cambridge in mathematics, and in 1820 was one of the founders of the Royal Astronomical Society. As a young scholar of means, intelligence, and great ambition, he appeared to have a very bright future ahead of him. In 1828, he was appointed to the Lucasian chair in Cambridge that had been Newton's, and only to then have to resign it in 1839 when the all-consuming passion that was to ruin his life had taken its toll. In fact, he could never have imagined that his obituary, written in 1871 at his death, would have read, "Unhappily for himself, he chose a path which led only to loss of fortune and embitterment of mind." But in 1837, Babbage's parties were all the rage in London, particularly when he gathered his guests in his living room, where he would proceed with demonstrating a prototype of his marvelous invention, the difference engine, an automatic computing machine. His guests were much admired, coming away with a feeling of having witnessed a miracle when the engine was put in motion. And it's plausible, actually, that one of the demonstrations had a very powerful influence on one of the guests, Charles Darwin and his early thinking about evolution. Babbage's biographer, Henry Wilmot Buxton, later wrote, "The marvelous pulp and fiber of the brain have been substituted by brass and iron. Babbage, I thought, will work to think, or at least to do the office of thought." The motivation for building the engine, of which you see here the only prototype that Babbage ever managed to complete, came from the obsession of Babbage for human-produced numerical tables. In the early 19th century, numerical tables such as this, tables of logarithms, tables of trigonometric functions, tables of interest, tables of annuities, and of course, astronomical tables, were absolutely ubiquitous in Victorian society, necessary as they were for all sorts of endeavor, not just for maritime navigation, but also for architects, surveyors, bankers, insurance clerks, civil engineers. Everybody relied on such tables for computation. Babbage had amassed a private collection of 140 volumes of tables, and a survey of 40 such volumes at random found no fewer than 3,700 acknowledged errors. And who knows how many more unidentified lurked inside those human-produced and human-computed tables. John Herschel, the astronomer, told the government official in 1842 that an undetected error in a logarithmic table is like a sunken rock at sea, yet undiscovered, with the same dangers. The problem, of course, was that such tables were computed by humans, by hand, with nothing else but other tables as help. Babbage set out to change that. And the stars were responsible for tipping him over the edge into his destructive obsession, on a path of no return. One day, in 1821, he and the astronomer John Herschel were painstakingly examining some astronomical table only to find more and more errors in the tabulated values. And when these discrepancies continued popping up, Babbage exclaimed, "I wish to God these calculations had been executed by steam." He dedicated the next decades of his life to designing and attempting to build a mechanical calculator that could, in his word, churn out logarithmic tables as cheap as potatoes. The difference engine was his first design, a machine that was meant to encompass thousands of finely chiseled gears, but which never saw the light of day in its entirety. Babbage abandoned the project when it was nearing completion after a dispute with a mechanical engineer that was building it for him. He then launched into an even more ambitious project. The difference engine was a simple arithmetic calculator, but his next design, the analytical engine, was meant to be a symbolic algebraic calculator, encompassing what we today would call a CPU, memory banks, and input-output system, in effect, a general-purpose computer. Ada Lovelace, an admirer of Babbage's, who translated the description of his analytical engine by the Italian nobleman and mathematician Luigi Manabrea, who served as Italy's prime minister between 1867 and 1869, described in her translator's notes the analytical engine in this way. "We are not aware of its being on record that anything partaking in the nature of what is so well designed, the analytical engine, has been hitherto proposed, or even thought of as a practical possibility, any more the idea of a thinking or reasoning machine." The stars, in fact, had more to answer for in explaining Babbage's singular and ultimately destructive obsession. If the discussion about the astronomical tables with Herschel had precipitated Babbage's resolve, the deeper roots of his interest in calculation and prediction lay further back in time. And they lay in the work of French polymath and mathematician Pierre-Simon de Laplace. It was Laplace who, in his work on the theory of probability, had for the first time posited what we today recognize as the essence of scientific positivism. The idea that the future behavior of a system is determined and precisely predictable if only one has sufficient data and, of course, sufficient computational power. It was the study of the regular motions of the stars, or more precisely of the planetary bodies in the solar system, that led Laplace to his complete theory of probability, and in particular, that led him to identify the mechanics of the heavens as the paragon of such an analysis. In his theory in his essay on probabilities, he wrote in 1814, "We ought then to regard the present state of the universe as the effect of its past state and the cause of the one which is to follow." And here's the key. Given for one instant an intelligence which could comprehend all of the forces by which nature is animated and the respective situation of the beings who compose it, an intelligence sufficiently vast to submit these data to analysis, it would embrace in the same formula the movements of the greatest bodies of the universe and those of the lightest atoms. For it, nothing will be uncertain, and the future, as the past, will be present to its eyes. This intelligence will later be called Laplace's demon, and today we might call it AI. This idea had enormous influence on Babbage, who quoted this passage in full in one of his books. But this very same notion, a notion that it is in the stars that we find the best example of a physical phenomenon that's amenable to human analysis and understanding, mathematical understanding, was reflected by Ada Lovelace's opinion that even the functioning of the brain could be understood in similar terms. She wrote, "I have my hopes of one day getting cerebral phenomena such that I can put them into mathematical equations. In short, a law, or laws, for the mutual actions of the molecules of brain, equivalent to the law of gravitation for the planetary and sidereal world." It does not appear to me that cerebral matter need to be more unmanageable to mathematicians than sidereal and planetary matters and movements, if they would but inspect it from the right point of view. So this very same idea, which was then born among the stars, in fact, if you look at it closely, underpins all of contemporary machine learning. The idea that we can predict the future, be it of a system of equations describing planetary motions, or the future of the markets, or the future of society, if only we have sufficient amount of data and sufficient compute to analyze them. Now, this idea, of course, doesn't stop with Babbage, and it continues to influence essentially the dawn of 20th century technology. We don't have time today to pursue this further, but as was mentioned, there is a book out in November that will explain it all, and it will be a fantastic Christmas present, if I may say so myself. Babbage ended up spending most of his considerable fortune and vast government grants in the pursuit of the analytical engine. He never succeeded. It has been said that Babbage's invention was way ahead of its time, and in fact, it's true that computers, when they were eventually built in the 40s and 50s of the 20th century, were built using electronic components, not mechanical components, such as the gears and the pulleys that were available to Babbage. But on the 200th anniversary of Babbage's death in 1991, Babbage's birth in 1991, a team at London Science Museum actually did build a replica of the difference engine according to Babbage's plans and using only technology and tools that would have been available during Babbage's time. When they cranked the wheel, the engine worked as intended. And here you see the beautiful components of a Victorian computer, as it would have been had Babbage been able to build it. Why didn't he do so? Well, the real enemy of the engine was Babbage himself. He was haughty and arrogant, prone to fits of rage, and had a very abrasive personality that immediately alienated the very same people he ought to have charmed and enlisted as allies for his project. It's not that he wasn't right about the potential of his engines to revolutionize government, society, industry, only he never managed to demonstrate it to anyone. This represents what we might call the first failure mode of advanced technologies. The actual technology not living up for technical or other reasons to the hype of its inventor. The conditions for success were there. Babbage had a visionary idea for a new piece of tech that would meet a key need of his society. He had the financial means to build it. He also, for a while, had identified the actual technical means of production to produce the piece of kit he had in mind. And he was well plugged into the high society of the time, and he had the kind of network around him that, if only he had been able to use it, would have allowed his invention to catch on and therefore bring his project to success. Babbage's engines were truly disruptive in the modern contemporary sense of the word, and an illustration is offered by the 1990 steampunk novel The Difference Engine by William Gibson and Bruce Sterling. This novel imagines what would have happened had Babbage actually succeeded in his project. And the availability of steam-powered mechanical computation in the Victorian era, imagine, changes everything. In the novel, Babbage himself becomes politically powerful, and he decides the destiny of governments. His computers make the British Empire invincible. and even break the English class system, as computer savants, as they're called in the novel, are promoted on merit rather than on class. The computers keep the French in check, even Napoleon meeting and then marrying an English woman, and prevent the unification of the United States. At the end of the novel, it is revealed that the entire novel has been written in 1991 by a computer that has become self-conscious. Which brings us to the present day, to the surprisingly rapid ascendancy of artificial intelligence, a technology that is being talked about as revolutionary. AI is indeed already changing every aspect of our society, business, education. It brings with it the promises of fabulous scientific discovery and also fears of chatbots stealing our jobs and even, some say, bringing about human extinction. In his autobiography in 1864, an embittered and disillusioned Babbage had prophesied, "If unwarned by my example, any man shall undertake and shall succeed in really constructing an engine, upon different principle or by simple mechanical means, I have no fear of leaving my reputation in his charge, for he alone will be fully able to appreciate the nature of my efforts and the value of their results." And indeed, some of the men that have been leading the contemporary AI revolution can be thought of as being cut out of the same cloth as visionary Babbage himself. Take Elon Musk. In 2015, he invested $100 million in OpenAI, which was then a largely unknown non-profit research company, whose stated goal was to build AGI, artificial general intelligence. In other words, a superintelligence. And crucially, make it safe for humanity. Musk and Altman, another co-founder of OpenAI, were going to make sure that the superintelligence was going to be built in such a way to be good as opposed to evil for humans. But recently, Musk appeared to have changed his mind. In March 2023, he was one of the prominent co-signatories of a letter asking for a pause in the development of all AI models before it becomes too late and before they take over and destroy humankind. This followed the release of GPT-4, the large language model that we have all heard about, by OpenAI, a model that has approximately 1,700 billion free parameters, 1,000 times step up with respect to its predecessor, GPT-3, which had been released 15 weeks prior. This all happened just a year ago. It's hard to remember that this is just a year that's passed since GPT-4 and then ChatGPT have been unleashed onto the world. And this has produced all sorts of reactions, from the fear for the future of jobs. Goldman Sachs, for example, has recently put out a report estimating that AI could replace up to 300 million equivalent jobs, to the future of education or the future of humanity itself. Some even claiming that they see in GPT-4 sparks of AGI or even self-consciousness, neither of which is true. Musk, who in 2018 actually left the board of OpenAI after putting in a bid to take over the company, a bid that was then rejected, says that he's motivated by concern for humankind. And that might well be so, or it might be just a reaction of a rejected suitor. He was quite bitter when he said that OpenAI wouldn't exist without him, and he even came up with a name. Strangely, though, for somebody who says he's worried about AI and the impact that it might have on humankind, he then went on to start his own AI-focused company, which is called XAI, and announcing that its mission is nothing less than to understand the true nature of the universe. This may seem grandiose or perhaps even self-delusional, but Sam Altman, second from left here, who remains at the helm of OpenAI, appears to be similarly focused, single-mindedly focused on the ultimate prize, the holy grail of AI research, that of creating a superintelligence able to solve all of humankind's problems. This was always the goal of OpenAI, which is now a capped for-profit company, but it's remarkable to witness the contradiction between the stated goal of OpenAI and what its C-suite members actually say. On the one hand, Altman declared that the risk of extinction from AI ought to be put on par with the risk of extinction from pandemics or nuclear war. On the other hand, though, he and his company gleefully doubled down on the pursuit of the goal of developing AGI, now with the immense resources put at their disposal by Microsoft, the agreement with which is worth $10 billion in 2023 alone. There's a parallel here with the history of the development of nuclear weapons. The physicists working on the Manhattan Project, Robert Oppenheimer first among them, felt that they had no choice but to plow ahead, even as they fully realized the immense destructive power that they were about to unleash with a nuclear fire onto the world. Their reasoning was that if the US had not gotten there first, Nazi Germany would. In reality, the Nazis were not working on nuclear weapons, and they were instead focusing their resources on the V2 rocket, because they thought they would not have been in time building nuclear weapons to make any difference to the war. But even Hitler, when Heisenberg presented the idea of nuclear weapons to him in 1942, is reported to have said that he was, quote, not delighted with the possibility that the Earth under his rule might be transformed into a glowing star. In fact, those fears were perhaps not so misguided. In July 1943, Physics Nobel laureate Arthur Compton met in secret with Robert Oppenheimer to discuss the possibility that the atomic bomb might ignite a fusion chain reaction in the hydrogen of the sea or the nitrogen of the atmosphere, a scene that is recounted in the movie Oppenheimer. Before it later became clear that this was physically impossible, Compton believed that it was, quote, better to accept the slavery of the Nazis than to run the chance of drawing the final curtain on humankind. But this analogy between the existential threat of AI today and the development of nuclear weapons during the war has some limits too. The atomic bomb was developed when the world was under the threat of Nazi domination by a massive government effort. Its only use was military, and proliferation was limited by the required resources that really necessitated state-level investment to be brought about. Not so with AI today. The military, of course, has its own interests in AI. Think about the threat of autonomous lethal weapons. But it is commercial gain that is today the main motivator for AI development. And differently from the atomic bomb, once developed, the technology can spread very quickly and easily and bring disruption at scale. Now, it's, of course, not the government, but commercial entities that are leading the development of AI, including Microsoft with OpenAI and Google with Anthropic. And once this technology is out into the world, it's very simple to jailbreak it out of any ethical safeguards, and therefore create disinformation at scale, flood the internet with fake videos, or in general, drown out human discourse with AI-generated fake news, all of which is already happening today. OpenAI even put a specific condition in his contract with Microsoft. When the company manages to achieve AGI, all financial arrangements will have to be reconsidered. After all, as Brad Lightcap, OpenAI's chief operating officer, says, we don't really know what role money will play in a post-AGI world. So if that's not a nuclear option, then I don't know what is. Building a company, think about it, whose aim is to change society to the point that money may no longer mean anything. Who would want to invest in that? But what if OpenAI or one of its many competitors actually fails? And by failing, I don't mean failing as in Babbage failed, not achieving the revolutionary technology that he had set himself out to build. Because I want to bring to your attention the fact that there is a second failure mode, which is almost as concerning as the first failure mode, and perhaps even more probable. Namely the case in which a fragile, hallucinating AGI gets embedded in the very infrastructure of society, business, information, culture, and industry, a process that actually already fast apace all around us. This is a scenario in which AI becomes too big to fail. It may be imperfect or even actively damaging in many cases, for example, by perpetuating at scale racial and gender discrimination, or by enabling large-scale surveillance, or even by providing micro-nudges and targeted propaganda that will change the outcome of elections. But such a system is adopted before it can be perfected, or before suitable regulation is put in place to protect society from harm, so that it later becomes and proves impossible to unplug. I don't believe that AGI is around the corner, but it seems to me that the second failure mode is a very concrete and present danger, one that requires immediate societal and governmental oversight before it becomes too late. Here, too, we can perhaps draw a parallel and learn some lessons from the history of the atomic bomb. When in 1965, Oppenheimer was asked whether the US should agree with the Soviets to stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons. He replied thoughtfully, it's 20 years too late. One thing I know for sure, we don't have 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Too somber, perhaps. Sorry, I didn't want to dampen the festive spirit here.
What do you think is the evolution in terms of investment in a world where the computational power in terms of leverage to actually compete to someone is pretty much limitless? So the small, medium, and even big companies cannot compete with that.
Absolutely right. These large language models are essentially a monopoly now because the kind of resources, computational and data resources that are necessary to drive innovation are in the hands of the few big companies and perhaps some states like China and so on. So it becomes a world in which increasingly you have these big advances being brought forward by the big players, and the scraps are left on the floor for everybody else to pick up. Even so, right? I mean, we've seen this innovation trickle down, right? And ChatGPT, for example, being adopted in many different ways. But it's clear that the next step, you can of course, you can see that the pace of innovation is really, really quick, and therefore. Many people are just throwing their hands up and saying, well, I cannot compete with that, but I will quickly try to englobate whatever comes down my way in my business model, because otherwise I'm not able to compete. Take IBM, for example. IBM paused the hiring of 8,000 programmers recently because they realized that with the new programming capability of ChatGPT, they didn't need those programmers anymore. And that's IBM, right? This is not some small startup. And so it becomes very difficult to do long-term planning. Long-term might be now 5 years, right? Who knows what 5 years from now the business world will look like, what kind of requirements it will have, and what kind of facilities it will have. The other thing I want to say, though, is that some of these systems can be exceedingly fragile in a business environment, and one has to be very careful to put all one's chips on this square, because once you become dependent and they're very embedded in your way of doing business, you are at the mercy of the system delivering, and that might not always be the case. There's a lot of hype out there as well.
It was quite interesting. I have recently seen a 60 Minutes episode with the CEO of Google, and I was just curious what advice you would give to CEOs of these big companies who are looking to push their products to outcompete others, but maybe or maybe not prematurely.
Google is a case in point, because Google really was found flat-footed by OpenAI, right? Google always prides itself for being such an innovator. It has been for the past 20 years, but on AI, Google is playing catch-up. And it's more ironic, even more ironic, because the key innovation behind the large language models such as ChatGPT came out from Google Labs. It's the architecture of a transformer. It was a Google paper in 2018, 2019, but Google didn't do anything with it. So Google is desperately playing catch-up, and their products in the AI sphere is not as good as OpenAI's. So in terms of advice, I think it becomes very, very important to identify a niche in which you want to excel, because these all-purpose AGI kind of systems, they are unassailable. The advantage is so big now, and it's accreting so fast that there is no hope of catching up. Even Google is struggling, right? Certainly Meta is struggling as well. And so it's very, very important to then identify even better than before, in a very sharp manner, what is it that your company can be excellent at and provide that, and not ignoring what happens in the other sphere, but not trying to compete because there is no hope in that respect.
Thank you very much again,
you.
Roberto.
Thank you.
Let us. Now, Teodora will introduce Mr. Andrea Poli, who will follow up in the discussion.
No, dobbiamo cambiare sempre.
Ok.
Eccoci.
Thank you, Gabi, for the assistance. So our second speaker is a dynamic professional recognized for his contributions in healthcare services and information and communication technology solutions development. He is Chief Technology Officer, President and co-founder at O3 Enterprise, a Zucchetti Group company, playing a pivotal role in shaping the organization's success. Under his leadership, O3 Enterprise enhances its software solutions by harnessing the power of both proprietary and third-party AI technologies. With a background of contract professor at the Faculty of Engineering at University of Trieste, he brings expertise in the realm of e-health and great communication skills, proven by training and speaking experiences at numerous events, including TEDx. Throughout his career, he has demonstrated a steady commitment to project management and cutting-edge research and development in medical informatics. He holds a distinguished master's in clinical engineering and is also an MBA executive candidate here at MIB School with a presentation titled Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare. Dear alumni, let's extend a warm welcome to Andrea Poli.
Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for this nice introduction. And I will give you some example of AI in healthcare, real example, and especially in radiology, because it's the field in which I am more involved, and my company is more involved. So a little bit of background. So this is a nice picture taken in Holland, 2005, with my research group, the research group in which I was involved in. In the center, there is Professor Nkingolo, the head of this group. And in 2005, he had, together with us, a great idea to create a company selling software to and services to the healthcare. So in 2007, this is August 2007, we were, with this idea, finalists at the Start Cup of University of Trieste, so a great idea, and this is Professor Nkingolo taking this award. And 4 months later, we won the Star Cup competition at University of Trieste, and you see only my picture, because Professor Nkingolo died in these 4 months, so he died. So I decided to continue this, to take this idea, to continue this idea. So in this slide, I have a few steps. You can see a few steps of the history of O3 Enterprise, so the company. Spin-off of University of Trieste is still a spin-off of University of Trieste. So international projects. We did a merge and acquisition in 2018-2019. In 2022, we realized that for the next challenges of the healthcare sector, mainly private sector, that is changing very fast because there is a very big and fast aggregation of hospitals and clinics. So we decided to enter in a big group in order to have bigger shoulders to expand our business and to discuss with the hospital and hospital groups. And this is our, let's say, our numbers today. So we have revenues more than 3 million euros. So the company is going very well. We have 27 persons, and the headquarters of the company is in Trieste. But I don't want to stress you with the company history, and I want to go directly to the topic. So AI in healthcare. So basically, in the Italian market, but even international market, there are 2 main paths for AI. One is machine learning, and for machine learning, there is AI for medical diagnosis and treatment, and there is machine learning helping in finding patterns, correlations between big amount of data. And in this way, it is possible to predict that is something is coming, that is, there is a disease, and you can treat and plan the treatment accordingly. And then there is natural language processing. You need to understand that most of the reports in which there is the patient history, the diseases, are written in a free text. So it's quite difficult to get the right words and to categorize correctly the reports and all the information. So natural language processing, that is important. There is a connection with finding right patterns in a large amount of clinical documentation. Radiology, and as I told you before, I want to enter in radiology because it's my comfort zone. And in radiology, there is a very huge, very wide application of machine learning. Machine learning, and this is a technical diagram, just to tell you that machine learning comes after the images are created. And so before the report, before reporting, there is an analysis on that images. So there could be some detection, finding something in the images, characterization of the findings, so segmentation, diagnosis, and so on. And then there is the monitoring of the disease, of the mass, or whatever. So this is basically what is the AI use inside radiology department. And now I want to focus on two projects, two studies in mammography. That is a niche part of radiology. So mammography, I don't know if you know how it works, but basically there is an exam acquisition made on female population. Then there is the blind readings. Since there is a huge number of exams, a huge number of images, it's better to have two readers, two radiologists reading the images, and they are reading them independently. And then, if they are on the same, the results is the same, so two negatives, it's not the patient, it's the female population can go home. Then if there is two positive, you need more exams, so to check whatever is going on. And if there is a discordancy, there is an arbiter, so a third radiologist reading the images and deciding if it is more likely negative or more likely positive. So how AI fits in this diagram? We can have a partial AI adoption. So one reader is AI. And in some cases, you can have two readers with AI. That, of course, is more risky because AI is not a human reading the images on an expert reading the images. But I want to give you two examples, real examples. So Treviso area, 6 hospitals, 6,000 mammographies per year. So quite a huge number of mammographies per year. And each exam has been analyzed by AI. As a company, we have decided not to invest in AI development, so we decided to buy AI from the best vendors. And we have selected Lunit, that is a South Korean company, for AI algorithms. And the output of AI is a score, probability of something, and graphical layer. You can see here an example of a graphical layer on the images. So in this study in Treviso, in almost 40,000 mammographies, the radiologist, the head of radiologists, decided to divide the population, the exams, in 3 categories regarding the score. So score less than 5%, that means almost negative, or likely negative, score between 6 and 94, and score major of 95. So 65% of the cases have score less than 5%. And only 0.43% are likely positive. But this is not the most important thing. The important thing is that the specificity of the AI score, of the AI algorithm, with the score less than 5% is 100%. So no errors. And the sensitivity in the case of AI score major than 95% is 93%. So a little bit less, and we are expecting 100%. But the fact that the specificity is 100% means that at least one reading can be done by AI in these cases. So if the case has a probability of cancer, of disease, less than 5%, a reader can be AI. And you can avoid 65% of readings in this case. So, in my opinion, a very important message. Second, and the last example is in Stockholm, an hospital in Stockholm. It's very difficult for me to pronounce correctly the name of the hospital, so let's keep it only on Stockholm. And Lunit as well, a large volume of exams, 100,000. And this diagram seems difficult, but the red bar is 2 human readings. So how many positive or likely positive cases by 2 human readings? The blue one is 1 human plus AI. The green one is 2 AI readings, so only AI. And the violet one is 2 humans plus, in addition, another readings by AI. And so the abnormal interpretation, if you see, there is a lot of differences between the results. But abnormal interpretation is not a disease. It's a doubt. So then you have to recall the woman, you have to do biopsy, other exams, and so on. But at the end, the number of cancers is exactly the same. So that means that you can replace one radiologist and having a partial AI readings, so 1 human, 1 AI, and you can increase in 4% the higher non-inferior cancer detection rate. So the outcome of human plus AI is a little bit better than 2 humans. That is very important message and outcome. So if we want to look in the next future, take a look at the next future, my opinion is that the trend is to move to a fully complete AI diagnosis, AI analysis with human supervision. So I think that radiology will move, at least almost the most common images and exams, we move to AI diagnosis, like, I don't know if you are aware of laboratory. Laboratory, basically the specialist in laboratory control and checks the machines, the devices, is not doing the tests in lab by itself. So it is a routine workflow in which he is responsible for the devices that should be work well. So this is the trend, in my opinion, in 10 years. And in my opinion, there are still 2 big challenges to be addressed in order to have a full adoption of AI in radiology. The first one is certification, is regulation, because it's quite difficult to to have FDA approbation and CE approbation on AI algorithm that, by definition, can learn day by day from the feedback of the readings. So this is one of the challenges. And the second challenge, in my opinion, is legal. Legal because who is responsible of a wrong diagnosis if it is the AI that did this reading? So I hope to be fast as Gabriela requested me. I'm joking. You're welcome.
Thank you, Andrea. Let's see from the audience and also, well, online, whether we have any questions. I already see Massimo.
Where are you?
Over there.
Sorry for the noise.
First of all, congratulations for the courage for having brought ahead this initiative from your professor. I think he will be absolutely proud of you, and that's the first topic. And with your last slide, you killed my question, which was about regulation, and of course, as I see a weakness there, and there is a first question over there. How do you see a potential to strengthen this? And which role do you see about EU and regulators? The second question is, what is your experience about, because if we think about medical sector is not the most, is one of the most risk-averse sector. Mm-hmm. How has been welcome AI and your innovation by doctors, by medical? Have you seen resistance, and how do you see the possibility to break this resistance?
Okay, first question about regulation. Now, the first AI adopters in healthcare, they had a very difficult challenge in getting the FDA and C approbation, but other approbation, because there is I put here in the slide only the big ones, the FDA and C. But the key point for let's say having a smooth for getting the regulation, getting the province very smooth is clean and quality data. So if you have a quality data that has been acquired correctly, that has been treated correctly, that has been used in the correct way, it will be, and now it's getting easier, it will be much more easier to get approbation. So at the beginning, if you go in a conference right now, there is hundreds of AI companies from all over the world, and only few of them are certified. Only few of them. Lunit, in this case, is CE and FDA certified. But since now all the companies are developing on very good quality data, I think that in the next future, the approbation process will be easier and faster. So this is for responding on your first question. Second question, sorry, it was, okay, resistance. Okay, the point is, if you ask to a radiologist if it is, let's say, he wants to use AI that in theory, in the future, can substitute his role, for sure you have resistance. But when you look inside the hospital and you see that there is a huge lack of radiologists, and it is impossible to read the examinations in the correct way, in the correct time, you need AI inside the hospital. This is the first point. And consider that since this year, the screening program has been enlarged in order to include the female population between 45 and 70. So last year was still 50. And so the number of examinations increased this year, but the number of radiologists is exactly the same. And a radiologist in screening is reading 60, 100 exams per hour. That means a lot of exams. And this is the first point. The second point is, if the radiologist can be more efficient, can gain more money. And so with AI, they are more efficient because they can be guided in the diagnosis. And so the efficiency increased. And so the possibility for them for making more money increased. So I think that the future you will see a lot of AI, at least in radiology.
Hello. So my question is mainly related to what Massimo said right now. We saw that just 2 weeks ago, we received the guidelines from privacy about AI in the healthcare environment. And also, we also see in the healthcare environment in general that usually laws are coming just months or even years later than when we need them. So my question is, considering how fast-paced is AI also in the healthcare environment, as Roberto said earlier, how do you see development of new systems and applications, considering that you don't know yet the laws and guidelines that you are going to be facing in a few months or years' time?
Well, I think the development time of an AI-based software is becoming faster than the regulation, the evolution of the regulation. That some years ago was probably the opposite, but if we see in the next future, probably the adoption of the AI will be faster than the regulation, and probably this will be a challenge, a big challenge. I highlight in this slide FDA CE because it's been a very big step for the CE committee and FDA committee to let's include AI in because we are talking about medical devices, so include AI in medical devices. And so it's risky, but since the development is fast, I think that it makes sense to develop these kind of things, and the market shows that everyone is moving in this direction, even though there is big question marks on the regulations and the privacy, of course.
Okay, thank you very much. Andrea? Okay, and so well, now for the introduction of our last speaker, please, Theo, the introduction for Dorina.
Yes, the next one. Okay, so now it's time to introduce our third and last speaker of the day. She brings a diverse background to the stage with a foundation in foreign languages, an MBA in international business from MIB, and a master's in science communication. She's deeply committed to science, leadership, and personal development. Currently serving as the head of communication and public relations at In Silico Trials, she has dedicated her career to the broad field of science dissemination. Her work encompasses a wide range of activities, including project management, communication strategy development, stakeholder engagement, training initiatives, event coordination, and exhibitions. She is also co-author of Science Dialogues, Basic Concepts and Tools for Effective and Rewarding Research Communication, published by CISA Media Lab in 2020. You might know her, their alumni. Let's extend a warm welcome to our charismatic former president, Dorina Stanculescu.
So hello everyone, while Gabi is helping me here. Thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you, Irma. Thank you, Teodora. Thank you, everybody, for having me here. It is always a huge pleasure for me to be here. MIB, it's not from the beginning. Yeah, it's this one, but not from the beginning. So as you know, I've been around MIB for about more than a decade, let's say, as Professor Traconia said. So since the first time I stepped here back in, okay, like I said, I don't say the year. I've kept my involvement with the school, so I'm involved with some activities, with the Alumni Association, and so on. So I'm very happy to be here. Before starting my presentation, however, I need to share with you two of the challenges I encountered when I accepted to come and take the floor here. So the first one is having to close this panel. So what on earth should I say after these two amazing guys already discussed with you and they shared with you your experience? And this is one of the challenges. The second challenge I have is that I have to talk to you about in silico trials, which is not necessarily doing consumer goods, right? So it's quite technical, quite a specific issue. So being a communicator, so I'm not the CEO, I'm not a scientist working in our R&D department, so you need to expect a different perspective. And at the end, when you'll make questions, if I can, I will answer. If not, we'll ask these two experts here. Okay, I think now I'm ready. Let's see what I know. Okay. So, very briefly, we will set the scene with a nice, fun experiment that put head-to-head ChatGPT and MBA Wharton students. Then we're going to check how many of you have seen this already. Why AI in healthcare? I'll skip this a little bit because Andrea already introduced, and I want to keep brief. Then I want to give you a little bit of background on drug development process, because it will make you better understand what we do at in silico trials. And then I hope we'll have time for Q&As. So I like to start with setting the scene with this nice experiment that saw, let's say, the world of business, our world of business, and the large language model ChatGPT. So how many of you had read the Wall Street Journal article? It was published in September, the beginning of September. Nobody? Okay, good. See? Okay, so this was very interesting. So we had, on the one side, the Wharton MBA students, and on the other side, ChatGPT 4. Practically, they were given a task. The task was to generate innovative product ideas that were targeted at USA college students. So they had some more let's say, characteristics or requirements to respect for the product. So the product needed to cost about $50, and it could not have been a software or a service, so it needed to be a tangible product, and they needed to come up with ideas that were between 40 and 80 words long, right? And what's very curious, so that's why I asked who of you had read this article, the results were quite compelling. So we had a committee to evaluate these ideas, and we had 400 ideas, equally split between human brains and ChatGPT, right? So practically these 400 ideas were mixed together, were mingled, and our experts extracted 40, the best 40, and guess what? 35, so not less than 87.5%, were conceived by ChatGPT. That's quite amazing. And if we want to add the famous cherry on top, right? The best idea conceived by ChatGPT had an 11% higher chance of being bought than the one designed by the students, the MBA students, which is making us think, right? I don't want to open a debate now because we won't finish it, but it makes us think, because very often we say ChatGPT is not, so AI in general is not creative. Well, I think we need to reconsider this. Then I wanted to speak very briefly about AI in healthcare. Again, Andrea already mentioned, because I'm also interested in the pharmaceutical sector now. So let's say, in my opinion, AI, not only in my opinion, it's a blanket term, right, for many, many advanced computing techniques. And when we talk about healthcare or pharmaceutical, in my case, there are these two that stand out, that are more important, and they are machine learning and NLP, so natural language processing. And I would like to focus now on drug development, which is a field where AI can bring a significant impact. And why AI can bring a significant impact? Because there is a problem, okay? So I want to briefly illustrate the problem. The problem is that the development of a new drug, for instance, is quite challenging. It can cost up to $2.6 billion. It can take up to 12 years, even 14, some research says. And only 5% of the drugs that are submitted for approval are approved by regulators. If we talk about cancer drugs, the percentage is even lower, because 95% of cancer drugs don't make it through clinical trials. And this is more or less where in silico trials, I forgot. So now I want to explain a little bit of context. Why is this such a lengthy and costly process? Because we talk about the process that has 5 stages. And let's see if I can briefly explain a little bit of all of this in terms that everybody can understand, me included, because when I came to this company, I didn't have a clue about this. So discovery. Discovery, it's like looking for, like being a detective that is looking for hints to solve a mystery. So scientists look at thousands and thousands of compounds, of molecules or compounds of molecules, and try to identify the right one, the one that can treat a specific disease. And this is all of these are time-consuming. We are going to see later on. Then we move on to the preclinical research, which is after we identified some molecules or some compounds in the discovery phase, we need to test them for safety and efficacy. These trials are normally done in the lab or on animals, so animal testing. After the preclinical stage comes the clinical trials. This is the most expensive, the longest, and it involves human subjects. So normally this stage is divided into 3. There is the phase 1, where we test on a small number of participants. We test the drug for safety. Then comes phase 2, where we increase the number of participants and we test for both safety and efficacy. Then comes the last phase, which is phase 3, where we test for safety, efficacy, side effects, interactions with other drugs, and we gather all the other information. After our drug has passed also this phase, it's time here, because it comes from an American magazine, it's FDA review, but this stands for regulatory approval. So it can be CE or EMA, so European Medicine Agency here in Europe. Here it's about presenting solid evidence, so we need to prove that the drug that we are working on is safe to be introduced on the market. But even after this phase is gone, has concluded, we also talk about post-market safety monitoring, which means that the work is still not done. It's like still keeping an eye on a suspect, even if they have been proven innocent, right? So the drug is monitored continuously to see whether there are long-term side effects or if other issues may arise. It may be that the drug can be pulled from the market, depending on this monitoring, or that there may be additional warnings to be added. So here is where in silico trials comes into play. Our slogan, our motto, if you want, is hyper-accelerate drug and medical device development. But I would like to try to explain a little bit our name, in silico trials. I assume many of you are familiar with the term in silico. Do you understand the word in silico? Okay, so I did well. Okay, so the term in silico comes from the Latin chemical element, which is silicon, which was found in computer chips. Literally, it means performed on a computer or via a computer simulation. In recent medicine, practically the term now is associated only with experimental techniques carried on computers, and it is related to the more famous words, which I'm sure you know, like in vitro, which means in glass, so experiments carried out outside of living organisms, and in vivo, which means in life, so experiments carried out within the living organisms, okay? In our drug development process, the word in silico mainly refers to using advanced computational techniques to simulate how a drug will behave, both in the body and also at different disease stages. Okay, I managed to explain this. Now, mission. The mission of in silico trials is to revolutionize drug and medical device development. How? By harnessing the power of what you already found out, the in silico technology that nobody knows about. No, I'm kidding. It's quite out there for the technicians, let's say for the experts, it's quite known. So we want to speed up that famous, lengthy, and costly process of drug development. How do we want to do this? We are still in the progress of creating what we call one of the largest in silico research network, which allows us to merge on our platform validated models, simulations, and AI tools, meaning mostly models and algorithms. So what's important to understand is that Andrea also mentioned something. So we are creating about 10% of the models that we offer to pharma and medtech companies. The rest comes from our partners. So we are, if you want, a little bit like Spotify or Amazon Music, where you go, you download what you want, and it has quite high quality, it's validated, and it's safe. We are going to see a little bit more what this means. And also we have a noble goal, if we want, democratize access. Are you familiar with the word democratization? Tim, how do I pronounce this? Democratization? Democratization. Are you familiar with this word? Yes? Okay, so it means, just in case someone wasn't, it means rendering something accessible to everybody, okay? So we want everybody to know about it. So this is what I'm doing as a communication person at IST in silico trials. I hope I'm managing it. So after the mission slide, I think you still didn't understand what we do, so I tried to put it in another way. So I said, we are a biosimulation platform. Do you know what's a biosimulation platform? No, just because it's interesting, because sometimes we present things on the screen and we assume the audience knows about it, but then the audience doesn't really know about it. So biosimulation platform, easily explained, right? It's like a virtual lab on a computer where scientists can simulate biological processes, drugs interactions, and so on. So I think this is quite important because this gives lots of benefits. It means you can test as many scenarios as you want. You can input as many, you can change the parameters which you input in the system, and this way you save resources, you save time. I don't want to get into it, but also you save some animals, because with precision medicine, the animal testing is not so relevant anymore, because every one of us have our own way of reacting to medicine. So if we are not equal between us humans, imagine the similarities with the animals, and I don't want to open a debate again here. Our platform then, it's not only powerful, but it's user-friendly, it's secure, and it works, as I mentioned before, like a digital simulation library, the Spotify of modeling and simulation, the Spotify of the in silico technology. I don't have time. I put this here just to show you, after the drug discovery slide that explained the processes, the solutions we have for each of these phases, but it's quite technical, so who's interested, we can discuss later, maybe with my scientists, not with me. The benefits, it's quite interesting, because depending on the solution, depending on the disease, using in silico technology can save up to 99% of time to fasten the go-to-market. And here, briefly, I will explain the multiple sclerosis disease simulator, which is a web tool that uses a complex model of our immune system. And it has two functions. It can be used at population level, so it can create the virtual clinical trials that will tell how participants as a group, how the disease in a group of participants progresses. And it can also be used at individual level, digital twin, so it will concentrate only on how a patient responds to a certain treatment. This is just to give you an idea. Scientific partners, I told you we want to make the biggest in silico research network. We have more than 70, and you can see there are regulatory partners, there are R&D departments in big pharma companies, and lots of universities. We talked about the importance of regulation. Again, this is quite technical, so I just want to underline that for the first time in 2022, after, I think, 85 years, the US President Biden signed this FDA Modernization Act 2.0, which practically for the first time said that for new drug development protocols, animal testing is no longer necessary. So before 2022, you could not submit for approval to the FDA. You could not submit your request for approval because you had to have animal testing. Since December 2022, this is no longer the case, and I think this marks a significant shift, a significant vote of confidence towards these novel approaches. And yes, what's next? I'm also an optimistic. I agree with Andrea, so I don't see only machines separated and humans separated. I see a future of personalized treatments and empowered clinicians and patients. And I also think it's very important because healthcare is becoming more human-centric than ever. The conclusions, AI in drug discovery. So I don't believe in this, that AI will come and replace the humans. I think great ideas happen in our minds, and AI is providing us a platform to make this real, to make it happen. AI holds many promises. I'm just concentrating on these ones for healthcare, for drug development especially, so that's a better understanding of biology, better drugs with the properties that we want, and let's say a fighter to help us battle serious diseases, and of course collaboration across disciplines, collaboration between machines and humans, that's essential. And I think I'm done.
Thank you very much, Dorina. Questions from the audience over there?
Oh, I told you not to make questions, Frank.
And here I am. So, Dorina, thank you very much. I have a question that is related to communication, so it's not very only technical. So we know that there is a lot of fake news, a lot of bad communication, and a lot of black act tactics used to manipulate information when billions are on stake. So, and we know that the law is very slow to assess those problems and find solutions. So how do you think that communication should fight them? Do you have like procedure in place? Do you fight those AI black techniques baked by algorithm with a better algorithm, or with what?
Okay, so that's a tough question, but that's a good question. This is a problem that I encounter. This is what I read and what we try to avoid. Now, how do I counter this? We really don't have a procedure yet. Maybe we should have a procedure in place. It's not difficult. Communication is never easy, especially communication on this, let's say, technical advanced innovation that people are not ready for. So it's very tough. On my side, I always try to avoid this kind of problems by doing a lot of research on the let's say on the sources I use to inform and to let's say to publish, to write about to our followers, to the people we are in contact with, but we don't have a solution. So if you can help me, I'm available for. I have this as a problem, but I don't have a solution.
My point of view is just at the moment the best way is to fight bad algorithm with a better algorithm until the laws catch up.
Yeah, could be. I'm not sure if my IT will agree with you, but could be.
I know, but the problem is that, like, if we say what happened during the COVID pandemic, there was a couple of vaccine, and some of them very, very efficient, but they got very bad news, and because of that, nobody want them. And there were billions at stake, and of course, the medical device industry is very, they cannot, I mean, they have a way of behaving that is the way they should, like they cannot make some statement. But it's a
Yeah,
big
they
problem.
don't give certainty.
It's a very big problem.
No, I agree, but this is, okay, we try to somehow to not really educate the public, but we know that, okay, and Roberto and Andrea, that uncertainty and risks are inherent, so are significant tenets of the scientific process and of everything, but it's difficult for people to understand this, and it's difficult for people to understand this when it comes to their beloved, when it comes to their families, so I 100% agree with you, but as a communicator, I have encountered this and I have tried to acknowledge people's fears and try to understand that, I don't know, if we explain the scientific process, maybe people will understand better, but this is still not a guarantee, so I'm not sure this is the solution. You don't care, I know.
I don't know. I mean, but solution is needed, but yeah, I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great talk. I feel so inspired. I have so many questions. I'm going to find you after. Okay. But the one at the top of my list is in regards to the partners that you have.
Yes.
I think it's absolutely incredible that you have, I might get the number wrong, over 70 partners that seem to be crossing all these boundaries, like countries, industry, etc.
It does.
To share their secrets, if you will, to add to this platform. Yeah, do you have any words on that?
Yes, so they are not really sharing the secrets, so I would thank you for the question. It's nice because it gives me some space to elaborate more. So I think the success of our company is also due to the visionary head that many of you here know, which is my CEO, Luca Emili. And he had developed during the years a huge network among which the FDA, so one of our first models on the platform was a collaboration with FDA scientists from the Modeling and Simulation Working Group at the FDA, so the Federal Drug Administration from the USA. During the years, we realized that it would be difficult for us to scale up only with our models because we are a startup, so we have a nice, smart, but quite small R&D department that could not come up with all the solutions our clients started to ask us. So Luca thought of creating this network, and what we do practically is, depending on the requests we have, we discuss with our partners, and we take their models, render them easily accessible and safe on our platform, and then we give tokens to our clients to use them. Our clients, they may be smaller labs, small or bigger biotechs, pharma companies, and we recognize them royalties. So every time client buys the token, we recognize a certain percentage, depending on the agreements, to the university or the research institution or whoever gave us the model. So we have about 25 models developed internally, and all the rest, up to 150, 170 that we have coming from other institutions. Thank you, guys. It was amazing to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Marina. Well, this way we close the presentation portion of our reunion. Timing is of the essence. I know there will certainly be a lot of follow-up questions, further discussions that we can take into the coffee break, the dinner. Why not? We will continue to share a lot of time with our three distinguished guests. I will now pass the word to Gabi and Manish. Sorry, my bad. There was no further presentation needed for speakers, who will introduce the initiative of the Business Corner.
Good afternoon, everyone. For me, I think it's like this was the last time I spoke here was during my acceptance speech, so I think it was quite a long time ago. But I think the reason why we want to really introduce this topic as well is one of the mandates that we thought when we wanted to speak to the alumni and how to connect is to also make sure that we don't just forget into the professional lives, but people who gone through their own paths of establishing their businesses and trying to find their own way of going to this organization or the world, like probably Andrea or some of the speakers today. I think it's an opportunity to make sure that they also get a to inspire us. Hopefully, by speaking to them, we also get an opportunity to, find our own way going forward. So that's why I think please feel free to meet the colleagues who Gabby will introduce right now.
Hi. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you guys the 4 companies that are here today. So we have Base Life Science with the former MBA to 2029, Valeria and her colleagues, Miro, I hope I said it correctly, and Letizia. The Advice Company from Daniele Russi, a former colleague and alumni of EMBA 18. IEXP from Patricio and also with Damian here. And AP Zeta Media from Pablo from the Origin 10. So guys, right now we have a coffee break in the garden, and we also have the business corners here so you can talk to everyone, visit the desks and ask questions, and also ask questions to our speakers. That was an amazing talk. Thank you for sharing such a complex topic in such short time. We really appreciate that. And thank you all. We are back at 3:15. Yeah. Guys, we are back at 3:15, okay? Okay, I need to change the presentation now.
thank you all for reconvening here with us. Let us all take a seat so we conclude with the final half an hour, 45 minutes of the reunion.
Yeah, so it is off program now that you can, probably there is some background, no? Okay. Yes, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the break. And now we have time for an off program. And we have the pleasure to host our former student and alumna Giovanna Piavera with Muntia Girelli, presenting us a very nice initiative sponsored by Further Manager Association, the Young Manager Award. The floor is yours.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. As said, I'm Giovanna Vaira. I'm actually a student because I'm doing the EMBA 25. We are here today as a representative of Federal Manager Association. For the one that doesn't know who Federal Manager is the union representative of the manager in the industry in Italy. I think in Italian sounds more specific. It's for quadri e dirigenti. As you can imagine, if I ask you this question, in your opinion, what's the average age of our association? Just consider we have 18,000 enrolled people. What do you think? Well, just not to be too specific, but it's above 60. So that's the landscape, unfortunately. It's also due to the fact that also retired people can still participate and join the association, but clearly that's the situation. And here we are actually representing the young manager, which according our definition is, up to 44 years old. But that's really why we are here, because we really want to give more visibility, empowerment on the young manager of our Italian industry. And the association is really strong in networking, in developing competencies. And one of the most powerful tools we have developed is this Young Manager Award. It's the 6th edition, and this will be for the 2023.
Thank you, Giovanna. First of all, sorry for my horrible accent. Okay, I'm supposed to make the presentation in Italian, but it's not a problem. So, using the words of our president, this contest is dedicated to young manager, okay, that day by day, with the competence and with the skill and determination, would like to make a greater their company. Okay, so for us, giving this kind of awards is a way to say to everybody that we strongly believe in our young manager, even if we are under 44. Okay, and we would like to support them in their professional growth. Okay, and to give them the tools to make a greater again their company. Okay. During this 6th edition, we were able to award a lot of our colleagues. Just to give you a level of professionality of them, the last that we awarded is Emanuele Orlando, who is the Global Vice President Sales for Barnes. In the past, 2 years ago, we awarded Donato Guerrini, who is the Strategic Negotiation MA for Google. And in the past, also another very important colleague was Giancarlo Zanioli, who is the General Manager for Humanities Holding. Okay, just to give you an idea. So our scope is to find in our territory, in Italy, a very strong young manager. And for us also it's important to discover, okay, we know that there are a lot of professional competence colleagues spread to Italy. But it's very beautiful to discover that a lot of them are very close to us. For example, you can be one of them. Okay. So speaking about the awards, we have to see two things. The first one is at who is dedicated this award. We said, okay, young manager in the industrial sector, okay, that are signed up in our association. But since we strongly believe in competence and professional skill, we are open and we are looking out of our association. So it means that we give the opportunity to all the young managers to participate. For example, I am very convinced, sure that if I ask to you guys which kind of rule, level, professionality, etc. you have, you are very candidatable for this award. So eventually, try to speak with Giovanna that is close to you, how it's working, and to share your data, because maybe we ask you to attend the awards. Okay. Second point, how it's working. We starting from a database of around 1,600 or 2,000 CV, okay, composed by our associated, external people, etc. With our group, we make two different analysis phase. The first one is made by us. So inside the group, there are a lot of top managers coming from several different roles. Finance, marketing, etc., etc., human resources also. And we have the scope to find and to analyze all the CV of that colleagues, that's candidated. And we have very clear parameters. For example, we look in which company they are working, how many people are working for this company, the rule, the growth path that they have inside the company, the eventually MBA courses, languages, etc., etc. And we define a sort of 80 candidates for 4 different geographical areas. We have northeast area, Lombardy, so the center of Northeast, the north, northwest, and the south of Italy, south center of Italy. We pass this candidate to an executive research company that for us this year is John Jefferson.
Jefferson Welch. It's the executive partner of
Manpower.
Yes, from Manpower. So.
And they are in charge to analyze deeply the CV and to speak with all the candidates. After this work, we are able to select 10 winners for each area that we name as silver manager. After that, the process continues because we would like to find the best one, not the best 41. Okay, so from these 40 candidates, we define the 10 gold manager, okay, and in this small group, we find the best one that for us is the platinum manager. To become a platinum manager, there is a process made by the researcher, the external company, and to find the right people. What we are giving to them? We are giving visibility, okay? For example, in the past, we published some interview on Forbes, and this year on MSCS magazine, okay? And we give some particular award. For example, we gave open badge to certify digital skill. We give the possibility to follow for all the 10 winners an important business course that is for strategic negotiation, okay? And for the platinum, instead, we are using to give as
yeah, let's say every year we work with business school. So, for example, last year we were together with Polimi in Milan, and the winner, the platinum, got the value of an MBA. So, of course, you could use it for MBA or other courses in that specific one. Actually, this year we are working together with Luis. So it will be most probably something related to that business school. But it's also there is also the possibility to join the next G20 for young manager. Yeah. So, I mean, the awards are quite interesting for really career development, visibility. We have really seen, as Bunte was saying before, really high
level.
Yeah, high-level manager being rewarded.
So we are waiting for your submission,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, your application, indeed, indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now it's time for our assembly. I guess you might recognize that guy up there. He sometimes sings, he encourages us to play soccer and who knows what else. Unfortunately, he was not able to join us due to his teaching abroad, but he wanted to spare a few words with us.
Buongiorno, my dear MIB alumni. It is my first time in which I'm not present to your reunion and I'm very sad. I apologize, but I'm abroad to deliver classes and I cannot be back. But I'm there with all my heart. I support you in every single initiative, plan, program, or whatever you may do together, to stay together, to intensify your integration, to increase your moment of sharing. And I'm sure our organization, our association is a value for our school and for all of us. I was the president of this association for some years, and it was a true honor for me. So I'm your supporter, sono il vostro tifoso. Andate avanti, go ahead for the best. I hug you and I hope to meet you as soon as possible. Bye bye.
Grazie, Prof. Well, here we are. I will try not to cry, I promise. I cannot assure it to you, but I will try. This is us. This is the governing council who has been in office for the last 3 years. As you can see, all in all, representing 7 different countries: Argentina, Brazil, China, India, Italy, Mexico, and Latvia. Most of us representing almost all or a large percentage of the programs of the school: MBA, EMBA, Origini, EMIF, and MIRM. I guess I counted them all. And again, it's been a pleasure being part of the association over the last of the governing council, and hence also the association over the last years. Most of you are already aware of that. I know that also here we have some current candidates of the MBA, for example, who have started a few weeks ago. It is great that these current candidates between the MBA and the MIRM total more than 30 different countries all together into classrooms. That's great because at the end of the day, as you know, our association is all about people. I will never get tired of mentioning this because it's composed by us. It is done by us, and it is, and let's say, and we are those who make this association what it really is. Over these past years, we have tried, and I guess achieved, in certain ways, to enlarge and broaden our network, increase the capillarity of the association in different cities and different countries around the world, created some further clubs, And we have also thinking about the giving back role of the association, provided that we are certain that we have been somehow blessed with the chance of taking our programs, give something back to the communities we are in. We integrate people. All of us are welcome to be part of the association, whether formally as part of the board or as ambassadors, as we will see further, or just by giving a helping hand. Let's say we have received a lot of help apart from those, let's say, from the 12 of us who have formally been part of the board. So again, we are way more than the faces you see here. You have seen over the last years. We currently have more than 2,600 graduates. I guess almost more than 2,700, if I'm not wrong, of more than 100 countries in the world. Again, the power of the network we are in, it's really hard to quantify, but it certainly is sizable. As I was saying before, we have relied on the help of several ambassadors, some of which are already sitting here in front of us, with local presence in all 5 continents, 27 different countries, and more than 50, nearly 60 formal, let's say, ambassadors. There are a lot more of them who behind the scenes have also been helping us. An additional ambassador I want to say, and this is, I'm improvising on this side, is Valentina Savino, who has always supported us night and day and night, with a lot of emails, so I really want to thank her. Thank you. Again, there is a lot of work done behind the scenes, and a large portion is performed by her. We have, let's say, organized ourselves in different working teams. Some, let's say, goals or objectives have been achieved. Some are still ongoing. Some others are still in the pipeline, let's say, and this is just a share of, let's say, of our will and conviction that we want to stay close to the, let's say, to the coming board, to those who we will announce in a few minutes. Because again, regardless of, as I was saying before, being formally or not a member of the board, it all goes way behind them. So we want to have this slide here just as maybe uno spunto, let's say, some points, some thinking points for the coming board. Some ideas can be taken into account, some others not. We are fully available to continue to collaborate and participate together.
As you may know, this was 3 amazing years that we were having a lot of activities where you were involved in some of them. For example, we did the Wonder Woman Wall, where most of the women that already study an MBA, a MIB, an Origini, participate, sending us their pictures, and we recognize all of us, as I am a woman also, we were recognized ourselves. Also, we did the volunteering day. This was here in Trieste, in Barcola. I have several faces here that participate, and as you could see, we were more than 100 people there cleaning the earth. Practically, it was an amazing day, sharing the experience we have with the earth and helping the earth. Also, we were in the Barcolana. We participate in the Barcolana, but not as a school, as the MIB alumni, to explain what an alumni and a graduate participate could help in the future, not just during the period of the MBA or of the course. Also, we make a synergy with the Comune de Trieste. They were helping us with several things as the Barcolana, the spot of the Barcolana, and they were participating frequently in all our activities. Also, we make a synergy with Regus Trieste and Regus Milan. So if you want to go and make smart working, you have, as MIB alumni, a 15% of discount. So this is another milestone that we get. We also, with all the golf tournament that we did, or promotions that we have, we help to Sant'Egidio, ADRA, Lions Club, Casa Integrazione della Donna, Bambini del Danubio, and this also with the support of all of us. Also, we try to involve, of course, to all of you to participate to the NBA Soccer Cup. This year was in Trieste. As you could know, we was about to win, but next year maybe we will win. So please, if you have soccer skills, you could speak with Professor Piloto to enroll yourself for the next year. That maybe is going to be in Napoli. So please, we have to recover the cup that we won on 2007. So please help us. Other thing, yes, as cheerleader, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Also, we have, as I explained you, the game, so play, enjoy, and donate. So this is practically the first activities we have been done. 2021, Casa Integrazione della Donna, 2022, Bambini del Danubio, and 2023, Lions Italy. During these 3 years, that was amazing, and with the participation of all of you, we did more than 28 MIB aperitifs all over the world. And this is, for example, the recap of the aperitifs that we did this year. So important, was the first one in Amsterdam, thanks to Gabi, and Vienna, also Marina, that is not here, but is online, and all other cities, Trieste, San Juan, Argentina, Roma, Paris, Udine, Zurich. So we have been doing this, and we ask for the future MIB alumni board that please continue this amazing initiative, because it's a spot where you could meet a lot of people, and it's very funny. So this is, for example, the pictures that we have of several MIB aperitifs. And even though you are not part of the MIB board, you could organize in your city an aperitif, just asking, and we help you with the promotion and with the contacts that the people is living in your city. During these 3 years also, we made 3 events. The first one was, I don't know if you remember, Colors of the Change, where we had 5 amazing speakers. The second last year was People, Planet, Profit, where I see Massimo here in the public. That was our former speaker, and Connie, that is here also participating. And 2023, you already met Dorina, Andrea, and Roberto. So for the new faces that I am looking here, new MBA, new MIRM, please, if you want to follow us, is the chain, how you say? El canale. The channel is a channel where we share all the initiatives and all the information, so you could keep in touch with us.
Well, again, thank you, guys. It's been, thank you. Venga, come, Teo. No, Teo, okay. Dale. Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
It is way more than those of us who you see here. Some other of us, unfortunately, due to some other appointments, have not been able to join, appointments or sickness. We together here with us, again, standing next to the 7 people you have just seen here. We also had Luca, Alessia, Jessica, Igor, and Marina. So again, thank you all guys for your support over the these last three years. And well, now I will leave the floor to Valentina. You already know her, who will walk us through the results of the elections and welcome the new board. Thank you all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. From here. Okay. Okay. So, really a pleasure to see you again here at the mystical Ferdinandeo Palace. Always a pleasure because usually I write you a lot of emails. At least having you in front of me, it's really a nice emotion. So thank you for coming, all of you. I'll go straight to the point because I guess that the 22 candidates are more than curious to know if they are in. So we already talked about numbers, about more than 100 countries we embrace as a community. So I'll go on, and these are the results. So Laura, Pilar, Maria Velia, Daniele, Georgiana, Gisela, Caterina, Matteo, Clara, Valentina, Carlo Nicolò, and Nicoletta. Congratulations. The e-voting period was of 1 week. We collect quite a huge number of votes. In the line, you can see the votes are in percentage, so around 9% by Laura, and then coming down to the other candidates. Of course, we really thanks a lot the 22 who decided to take this challenge. And of course, we always remind you that you do not need to be part formally of the Governing Council to give you support and your help. And so feel free, every one of you, to propose and to organize initiatives and events in your cities. So, here again are the names, also with the programs. We can see that also for the current, now we can say current Governing Council, we have more than one master program represented, and also more than one country. So it's nice. Oh, I have not calculated yet how many countries. Sorry, guys, I was a bit. And okay. They are already expressing their enthusiasm, you know? Okay, so we give faces to our Magic 12, and I would like to leave the floor to some of you who are here, who would like to take the floor is over welcome. And what about the president? We do not have a president yet because our organization of the Alumni Association says that it is he or she has voted at the very first meeting of the new governing council. And so they are going to vote for the ones that offer to serve in this role. And so good luck to the future president. So we have here some of you. Nicolo, Nicoletta, would you like to take the floor? Georgiana, please, come, don't be shy.
No, I will wait also for the others, because I want to have a team here, not just myself. Even if I'm the only MBA, actually, so I'm representing the MBA. come. And I think it would be nice to have just a small introduction, everybody, just a few words. It's, okay, I would start. Okay, I'm Georgiana, and I'm really, really happy to be here today with you. And I'm so anxious to be part of this new board, so I will do everything I can to support the MIB spirit and to spread the MIB spirit. So yeah, you can count on me. So yeah, I'm here for this. So yeah.
Hello, I'm also really happy. Thank you for your trust, Alumni Trust. So I attended the executive MBA 2 years ago. I graduated in 21. I grew a lot from professional and personal perspective, and so I think that I would like to focus on the last aspect, so people that, in my opinion, represent the real asset and a very precious asset for this institution. So I would like to encourage, let's say, network among people and listen to all the alumni needs and support with the services during my new challenge. So thank you. I will try to do my best.
Hello. I'm Pilar Farina, and I did Origini 22, so I just graduated on last April from the program. And I'm very happy to be part of the group of the new council because it's my link to Italy, as I'm now living in Zurich. So I'm very happy to be part of this community that gave me so much during the last year, and happy to work for it. So.
Thank you so much. I'm Laura Princi, and I'm very happy and grateful for all of this. I really thank the last Government Council, with which I have worked a lot, especially in Milano, developing some moments for the community there. So hope to do my best in continuous the experience and the commitment of the previous board. And I was in EMBA 22 as Nicoletta and Matteo. And yeah, I'm so thankful and excited to work with you all.
Hello, I am Gisela Chiarella. I come from Bolivia. I am from Origin Italia 2020. And I am very happy to have this new challenge in my life. I am also very happy to meet part of my new team in the board. And I also want to take this occasion to congratulate to all of you to the previous board for all your effort, your commitment, for all the projects and activities you did. Thank you, Valentina, also for your support, and everyone for your presence here. So I am also very happy and excited to keep on growing as a MIB Alumni Association and community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matteo, and yeah, it's great to be here, and it's also great to, let's say, collect from the previous board this great, I would say, and very important thing. And yeah, we will keep the pace on making the difference. Thank you very much.
Hello to everyone. I'm Carlo Nicolò, attending Executive MBA 21, and I'm very happy to be here, and I hope I will be able to support who want to ask something from the new board, and will be able to extend to push the engagement of the student at the end of the master to be connected to the school. Thank you.
You have to speak for the other guys that are not present today. So.
Again, welcome, guys. Thank you for being up to for having taken up the challenge. I'm certain you will be up to it. Just a small joke. Be careful with the advice of breaking a leg. I broke mine literally. Beware, take it as a metaphor, please. One is enough. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. I also be careful. I want to thank the other 5 members of the new governing council. We are finishing just on time, which is quite good. Again, just final remarks. Thank you all for being here, for having been part in several of our activities. Again, everything we have done, it has been for us all, for our community. So it's really great to see familiar faces, new faces every year, and I'm certain that this will only continue to grow. Final remarks, right after we take a few pictures of the governing councils, group picture of all of us. Those who have decided to be part of the business corners, most of them have volunteered to continue to be here with us for a few more minutes, so that, again, after the pictures, any of us wants to continue to learn about their initiatives, we are all welcome to join. So, well, yes, please, Vale, on the activities. Yes. Thank you, Vale. As per the activities, we will be having tonight the dinner at the Modernist Hotel. There might still be a few places, so if anyone has not enrolled and wants to join, let us all be welcome. As per those of us golfers, with deep sorrow, I informed that due to the forecasts, tomorrow will not be the day for this year's tournament. We will reschedule it. So again, stay tuned. We will ask for your support for further promotion once we set the date. Tomorrow morning, here nearby at the Revoltella Museum, many of us will be part of the homage to Miro. So then many of us can meet there at 11 for the exhibition, and then join most likely downtown for lunch. Well, that is me. You you already know me. And well, then again, without further ado, let us take a few pictures, a group picture of all of us who are here, business corners, and then dinner. Thank you all. Ci facciamo.
Perché mi sei break your legs, not ours.
Facciamo...
Sì. Ma davanti, meglio perché sì.
Ci facciamo... Felicitazioni! Grazie, chi Grazie. Congratulazioni Matteo, benvenuto. Adesso dobbiamo capire.
¿Se apagó solo? Ponemos la...
Podemos poner, sí, la general. Ecco, perfecto.
Sí, ¿no? Para que quede de fondo.
Buena idea.
We invite you to the picture, please. Let's go for the picture.